Hey guys, it's Megan here, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior, also known in other circles as Healing Foods Coach. Hope everyone's doing well. So, today's topic, because you guys, a few of you have asked me this question, so it made sense to talk about it, was the question of what about hair loss on the carnivore diet? Or I suppose that could be on an animal-based diet. Okay, so first of all, I just want to start by pointing out that anytime we radically change our diets to anything else, hair loss is very common. Okay, so it isn't simply because we've become carnivores that our hair might be starting to fall out more often or more of it. It's because we've radically changed what we're eating. So if we're going from a standard awful diet to anything different, which could be vegan, vegetarian, low carb, keto, carnivore, lion diet, anything in that spectrum, say compared to the standard awful diet, is considered a radical change in our eating habits. And in each of those cases, you will likely experience some degree of hair loss. It's a common side effect. So if you do have some hair loss when you start the carnivore diet, that is actually quite normal. It happens quite often, but it's really only during the early, for the most part, it typically happens only during the early transition stages. For some of us, it might last for a few weeks or a few months. It depends on how much healing we have to do, and also how much hair we're working with to begin with. Okay. Now, in my case, yes, I did experience hair loss when I first started carnivore. However, I would also like to point out that up until I started carnivore, I was already dealing with quite a bit of hair loss. I was dealing with hypothyroidism, so my thyroid was underperforming by quite a bit. And for those who don't know, it's the thyroid hormone that controls and manages and looks after the hormones that regulate things like hair growth, healthy hair growth, like the strength and durability of your nails, of your teeth. It looks after things like your skin as far as keeping it clear, helping clear up spots and that kind of stuff. It is what regulates everything from hair and teeth and nails, fingernails and toenails, to also things like our digestion, our metabolism, sex hormones, things like our monthly cycle for women. And so when the thyroid itself is not producing optimally, all those things will be affected. And so for those of us who have ever struggled with either fully blown being hypothyroid, having an underperforming thyroid, or perhaps we've even gone beyond that to develop Hashimoto's, well, one of the most common things that we will have on our long list of symptoms, other than feeling cold all the time, maybe inability to control our body temperatures, feeling thirsty often, the other very common symptom that occurs in these cases is hair loss, whether it's the hair from our heads, or even before that might happen, our eyebrows thin out. So like the outer quarter inch of my eyebrows was completely gone. All the hairs had fallen out. My eyelashes were very dry and brittle and were falling out regularly. I would have at least 2 or 3 eyelashes falling every other day. Our fingernails and toenails get very brittle. They're typically either become very, very soft and kind of peel, or they become very hard and cracked and brittle. Okay, and our hair, which can start with being just really dry and coarse and brittle like straw, is where it can start, but very often we will start losing large amounts of hair when we brush our hair out. I'm not talking like the massive chunks you would get, say, like a patient who's been through chemotherapy, but we get a fair bit of hair in our brush daily. We're losing quite a bit of hair. And the hair we do have is very dry, brittle, almost feels like it's breaking off constantly. That was what I had already long before I transitioned my diet. Okay. So I have to put that out there as a proviso, as a keep this in mind type of thing, because there are people who quite frankly may not experience hair loss when they switch to the carnivore diet, or it'll be very minimal. You know, might be for a few weeks and then they're fine. But if you've already had issues because of your underactive or underperforming thyroid with dry skin, cracking, peeling nails, you know, eyelashes and eyebrows thinning or falling out, hair loss, then yes, you will notice it probably even more your first little bit of transition time. Now, my hair was, don't believe it was ever quite this long. It was probably to about here. I kept it shorter simply because by that point in my life, my pain, my fibromyalgia pain, and overall chronic inflammation and pain was so bad, I could not put myself and sit in a hairdresser's chair for any length of time. So I just kept it fairly short. Okay. Now, obviously that changed when COVID hit because we couldn't go to the hair salons. But for the most part, when my hair was really getting bad, especially around 2018, 2020, it just felt like I was holding a bunch of dried straw in my hands. And I was under the false impression that when I start carnivore, like within 2 weeks, it's going to be shiny and healthy and glossy and it's going to be glorious. Now it's gotten to that point over these last 4 years, but for the first 6 months, I didn't see any real initial dramatic noticeable changes, at least with my hair. It was still falling out and falling out, what I thought was a fair amount, almost daily. However, I stuck with carnivore. Why? Because I did notice after the first 3 or 4 months that my eyebrows were very slowly starting to grow back in. I was not having eyelashes constantly fall onto my glasses or in my eye. My eyelashes stopped falling out all the time. And within 6 months to the first year, I noticed my fingernails were no longer cracked and peeling. My toenails were no longer easily chipped and broken. They were actually strong and healthy. Okay. My teeth, the enamel, there was like wear on my enamel. That enamel has actually been replaced. Like it's actually back now. My hair at one point was all gray. This is not colored. Okay. I have not colored my hair. I know I can't provide you with definitive scientific results to prove that there's no hair dye here. This is my natural color that has gradually worked its way back into my hair over 4 years since being carnivore. I have not colored my hair in 2 years at all, but no color in my hair. This is all natural. The gray is gone all by itself. So when I say that your hair falling out will eventually stop, yes. And I would like to point out as well, as I mentioned, my hair was always falling out. It was always dry and brittle and horrible to manage for years, long even before my injury and my fibromyalgia 10 years ago. I always had issues with my hair being kind of crispy and dry a lot of the time. It has only been with carnivore that I was able to reverse the fact of my hair loss, and what grew back in was healthy. But again, that will take time. It doesn't happen in like 2 weeks. There's no magical serum or anything like that. To be honest, I use a bit of shampoo, a little bit of conditioner. That's it. I don't use a hair dryer. I just let it dry by itself, and my hair feels great. It doesn't feel like crunchy straw anymore, which I didn't think would ever happen. So will you likely lose some hair when you change from the diet you're currently on to an animal-based one? Yes, you probably will. Very normal. But I would hesitate. I would imagine And I would say that likely it will only be really bad for the first few weeks, maybe a couple of months while you are fully transitioning. Like there's typically people take 2 to 3 weeks to get fat adapted, but our bodies may take actually 2 to 3 months to be fully transitioned to carnivore. And during that phase is probably when you're going to notice the hair loss the most. You're not going to suddenly have it all fall out and go completely bald. If something like that's going on, then there's something else happening in your system. Okay, this is some hair loss is very normal when we change our diets. If it's like all at once and just poof, you're suddenly bald, that's a bigger problem. But stick with it, because what you will find is after the first couple of months, little by little, you're going to see new little hairs start to grow. And eventually all your hair will be replaced with healthy hair, because we lose hair every day. That's normal. And in this case, what grows back is healthy, which is amazing. But it will take time. And again, if you've got longer hair like me, and mine's pretty thick as well, keep that in mind. It took you a while to grow it in the first place. It will certainly take your body a while to grow new, healthier hair to replace it with. But it will happen. You just got to stick with it. And some people, it might take even longer, because as the body heals, it will prioritize the things that need to heal first. So I had to deal with IBS. I had to deal with chronic pain, chronic inflammation, limited mobility. I was also dealing with an underactive thyroid and gut issues. All of those had to heal first. I also had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. The body's going to focus on the internal healing first, and sort of the last things that's going to devote its healing power to is the outer non-life essential things, like the quality and texture of your hair, whether your nails are healthy or cracked, eyebrows and eyelashes being healthy. Those things are kind of like the last things the body will heal. But it will work. Stick with it, whether it's low carb, whether it's keto, whether it's carnivore. It will definitely help. In the meantime, if you are experiencing hair loss, don't panic. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly natural. And it will eventually stop, and you will start to have replacement healthy hair as a result. So I hope that helps answer any questions you guys have. Feel free to drop me a line, leave a comment, let me know what you think, if you've experienced the same thing, if you're going through similar challenges right now, let me know. And just remember, it is unfortunately, it is a normal part of our body's healing. The fact that, yeah, we will go through hair loss during these stages, but it will get better. And in my experience, the only way of eating that has helped me replace the hair that has fallen out, that has died, well, technically the hair we see is already dead, but to replace what grows in with something healthy has been following the carnivore diet, or for those of you following an animal-based diet. It's the only time I've seen that improve. Because I've been on lots of other diets, binging, purging, restricting, low calorie, vegetarian, and all kinds of madness in between, and it never helped give me healthy, strong hair, nails, and teeth. That only came from carnivore, or in brackets, an animal-based diet. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate all of your support, your comments, your love, your good wishes, and so forth. Let me know what's going on. Let me know how you're feeling. And if you guys have any ideas or things you want to ask me or suggested topics, leave me a message. Let me know. Take care. See you guys in the next video. Bye for now.